Yeah, I don't know what's worse, presenting right after lunch or presenting right before Mark Cuban. So I'm extremely privileged to be here, not only for the story I'm about to tell, but to represent one of the final few industrial manufacturing companies here in Rhode Island. You talk a lot about technology and healthcare and education, and we still employ over 1,000 people here in Rhode Island and 3,000 globally. And we started, a couple questions, you guys are going to have to get engaged a little here, with an innovation over 100 years ago. And can anyone tell me what that innovation might have been? They're like, does she know she has a stapler in her hand, or she put it down? Anybody have any idea what that innovation over 100 years ago might have been? Bostitch stapler. Thank you. Not just the stapler, but the actual, I mean, who would have thought? To actually put all those little staples together in one stick so you could load them in, 100 at a time. Before Bostitch figured out how to glue these little things together, they were done one at a time. And that was called, which is where Bostitch comes from, it was a Boston stitchery. They were called Stitches, the Boston Stitchery Company that started in the bookbinding business. So I'm here to tell you about another innovation today. I'm not going to talk about 100 years of the stapler. But today we are still making, ooh, we already jumped ahead here. Whoa, how'd you get there already? That's the whole pitch, I'm done. So, that was easy. So today I'm proud to say that we are still, I don't know why this scares people, but I have a license for this, so don't worry, I'm a trained professional. But I'm proud to say we still today are designing, innovating, manufacturing, and marketing staples and staplers, as well as collated fasteners, nails that are stuck together, not the bulk nails, and the tools that fire them. So that's what we do. So I've got a question for you all. How many, and I won't shoot you if you don't have the right answer, how many of you have been involved in a construction project? By raise of hands. Rebuilding, remodeling, quite a number of you. I'm going through one myself and hope my marriage lasts. But, and let me ask, as you are walking the hallways of, or the aisles of Lowe's and Depot, my favorite friends and shopping experiences, picking out your design kitchen layouts and cabinets and paint and wallpaper and doorknobs and Walt, you're probably looking at clothes dryers or something like that, toiling over that decision. As you're going through and making all those decisions, how many of you had actually thought about the structure of your home? You can't answer. I know Chris is thinking about it. But have you thought, so a few of you have, maybe the insulation factor in your, the R factor of your insulation or the subfloor or maybe the shingles. But when you actually strip down this picture up here, the drywall and the paint and all those pretty things that you guys spend a lot of time getting, what you end up with is a wood frame. A wood frame of 2x4s and plywood. We call it framing and sheathing. And what keeps that wood floor together, or that wood frame together? Nails. Who would have thought something as simple as a nail? And that's what I'm going to talk to you about. What happens when a nail fails? What causes that nail to fail? And how do we innovate to prevent those nail failures? So unfortunately for many of us, these pictures have been very recent in what happens when a nail fails. The top one is some disaster from Hurricane Katrina, and the bottom one, earthquake in California. And as you can see, when the nail fails, typically with severe weather, the home falls. Now you may be looking at some of the locations and thinking, wow, that's really terrible. But I don't need to worry because I don't live in Florida or the Gulf or New Orleans or California or even Kansas. So I don't need to worry about that. Well, Toto, let me tell you, unless you live in Bismarck, North Dakota, you are suspect and at risk for severe disasters in any state that you live in the United States. Whether it's the high wind zones that you see on the top, with tornadoes and all the hurricane on the ocean, or earthquake accessibility. So that's a problem. It's a problem for a lot of people. A problem that luckily I'm here to tell a good story today. I get a story. I want it to be a happy story, a bedtime story, of how we have taken this problem and have come up with a fantastic solution. So before I get into the solution, how do you go about solving a problem like this? And it was Ellen this morning that really hit home. You can't just do it alone. Industry, representing industry, we cannot do it alone. We know how to make stuff, we know how to market stuff, but we don't always know how to solve problems, and we need collaboration of innovation to really come up with a better solution. So we worked with the government, FEMA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. We worked with universities, Clemson and Brigham Young, who have some of the best catastrophic wind weather chambers in the US. And we worked with other industries, including the insurance industry, who's very keen on weather and natural disaster resistant materials. And we worked with building code officials and actually getting better codes in building. So after many, many, many years and lots of research, we understand more than most in the world how a building fails. So I could spend 8 hours going through all the technical research, and my MIT colleagues would be very impressed that I actually paid attention 20 years ago. But I'm going to simplify it to 2 slides. Very simple engineering here. So this is what happens in an earthquake. You have a seismic force that makes a building go back and forth, and you've got an equal and opposite force going the other way. So the base of your house goes one way and the roof goes the other. And what happens is the nail shears. It breaks. So that's a shear force breakage. And you see a picture up there of what shear load looks like. And what ends up happening is your house turns into a parallelogram. Very difficult to decorate. So that's what we have on the bottom. The second failure, so hurricanes have all kinds of things going on. They've got rumbling and shaking and wind. So in addition to shear, what typically happens in a hurricane is the wind busts through your home, breaks your windows, which is why we suggest that you board up your windows so that doesn't happen. There's a low or high pressure created within the home and a low pressure outside. When you've got that kind of pressure differential, the nail comes out of the wood. The roof actually comes off the frame. And that happens 2 ways. Either the sheathing or the roof comes up through the nail, we call that pull through, or it stays in the sheathing and it comes out of the frame, which is withdrawal. Either way, you have no roof. Not a good situation. So say that this team for many, many years, I said we've been at this for 100 years or so, but really focused in the last couple of years with the wake of the significant amount of damage and destruction in the Gulf region, came up with a disaster-resistant fastener called the Hurricane. Nice name. Where's Saul? We wanted 19, 20, 21, but that was already taken, so we came up hurricane, earthquake, hurricane. So nice name, that's great, but how does it work? How does it work? How do you innovate? It's just a piece of metal. How does it work? The result, and then I'll draw for you a much clearer picture of how it works, is that this nail now withstands twice the amount of wind uplift force. So it can withstand up to 170 miles an hour versus the, whatever half of that is, 85, 90. And it withstands 50% more shear force. So in the end, we've created this, it works, and we've got a code for it. So I want to show you a little bit more about how it works. And I can see the folks in the back are having a hard time seeing my sample. There are other samples out there if you guys would like to have a reminder. So I did bring, for those of you that can't see in the back, I want to make sure I get my point across today. So you're going to remember the nail. All right, so I want to talk about just a couple innovations. And I say it's a very simple, elegant design. And I'm very strong, carrying all that wood. We're going to talk about the shank and the head. I'm talking about nails, gentlemen. When you look up here, if you can see my nice pointer here, what I have there is a picture of the sheathing in the frame. And what happens is the head goes through the sheathing up to about here, and then this part is in your 2x4. So these little grips down here, they would actually get into your frame and grip, hold. So it goes through the wood, and then the wood fibers go around the ridges, and you get much stronger withdrawal strengths. Up here, this is really where the innovation came, is getting both of these forms on the same shank. Typically a nail is smooth, or you see rings, but to see both of them, which is a patented technology at this point, has never been done before. And what this does is actually fill in, you can see over on the right-hand side there is when this part goes through the wood, it creates a hole. This outer diameter is a little bit bigger than the hole it creates, actually getting in and screwing in to the top, which is the sheathing, and actually keeps it together. Now that helps for the uplift. I was telling you, you get actually much more security so that the wood doesn't come off. We also have this thing called the shear, when things go side to side. You want as much material there so that the nail doesn't break. So right where the 2x4 hits, we've got it designed so that it has the most material right there, and you've got the biggest outer diameter. Everybody follow that? Pretty simple? Okay. This is, compared to what you guys have been talking about the last 2 days, I figured this would be pretty easy stuff. I want to do, so that's the shank. The head, just one other, I said patent, we call it our Fathead, and this one's really fat, is this is 25% bigger. And what that does than a standard nail is it helps reduce the ability of something to pull through. I told you things pull through. What it also does is when people are actually building your homes, a lot of times if you look on the right there, the nail actually goes under the sheathing, and which starts to create even more likelihood of pull through in the future. So with a bigger head, it's much less likely to drive through. So that's the technology, which as you can see we're very proud of. I had a controller here. In a nutshell, we had a significant problem. We're very proud that we came up with a solution. What we didn't expect was the attention that this nail was going to create. And just recently, we've been recognized by Reader's Digest as one of the top products, this Hurricane nail, not me, but the Hurricane nail, one of the top products that will change, top 25 products that can change your life. So that felt pretty good to be recognized in that manner. And the other one was Popular Science, which most of you probably have subscriptions to or read. I read a little bit more of it now than I used to. Last year, December, about this time last year, we won our category for Innovation of the Year, which is, they have 10 different categories, so our category was tool and hardware, something like that. All right, it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa there. So we won the tool and technology category, and we were invited to go to Grand Central Station, New York, in December timeframe to receive our award, along with the other 9 recipients of their respective categories. And they were going to announce that evening the grand winner over all categories. So basically, we won Best of Breed, and we were going for Best of Show across categories. So I was honored just to be there to accept the award on behalf of Bostitch. And I'm with a pristine group of colleagues as yourself. And they've won, we had Mr. Bugatti, the car that goes 253 miles an hour, and it's designed that at certain speeds it actually changes form so that it sucks to the road and doesn't fly off into Bill's new venture over there. So they've designed this like really cool, awesome, fastest car in the world, passenger car on one side. I've got Mr. Bladder, Dr. Bladder. He figured out how to take your bladder or other organs out of your system, regenerate them, and put them back in you. That's pretty cool. I was like, and there I am with my nail. So I was like, that's cool, dude. Yeah. So I had Mr. Gotti, Mr. Blatter, or Dr. Blatter, and then another one was these SPICE satellite goggles that you look up to the stars or constellation, and it tells you what constellation you're looking at. Oh, that's pretty cool. That'd be nice for a date. One night, oh, look at that already. Yeah. And the $100 PC was the award for the computer technology segment. So they went through all the awards, and like, there's no way we're going to win the big grand innovation of the year, and because if we do, I don't know what Dr. Blatter's going to do. Poke his eyes out. I think I'm okay with what we've got. So to my delight, and a little bit of guilt, we won. We won the whole thing. And that was pretty cool. So that's pretty much the story of how we've innovated now. But before I close, I would like just to share with you a couple of segments on the coverage that we received in the last year, and you'll get a better feel of some of the technology and lab and design behind the nail.
CNN Headline News, 24/7.
Also in our Tech Check, the magazine Popular Science has named its best innovations for the year 2006, and the grand award went to a nail. It's a really different kind of nail. It's called the Bostitch Hurricane, meaning it can withstand hurricanes and earthquakes better than traditional nails. It's got a lot of different variations in there. Engineers, of course, really wanting to go to work after Katrina to make homes safer so they're better able to withstand terrible weather. It would only cost to buy an entire home, to build an entire home with these nails, an extra $15, and they apparently do a much better job of holding things like floorboards together. Some other inventions that were singled out, the Nintendo Wii, also Sony's new gadget that lets you read books, and the scaled-down laptop that's called the XO. That's part of that one laptop per child program, where they really did a job just designing that laptop very differently so it would cost a lot less and use a lot less energy. And finally, they also had a simple tool for stargazers. It's about $400, but you point it at the sky and it will tell you what planets or constellations you're looking at. I love that.
Oh, that's great. So get sort of all that guessing. What am I looking at? Is that over there? Thank you, Jen. Appreciate it.
Great. There's one more. Wait, hold on. Don't clap yet. I think there's one more. We're seeing it. I love that. And that's great. A nail?
Hurricanes and earthquakes cause devastating destruction, but one company hopes to nail down the problem. Stanley Bostitch is one of the leading manufacturers of fastening tools, and their lead engineer, Ed Sutt, and his team have come up with the ultimate nail.
A hurricane nail is a high-performance fastener that can give you up to twice the resistance to wind uplift forces and up to 50% more resistant to earthquake-style forces.
The company has a state-of-the-art facility that tests building supplies by recreating conditions of natural disasters.
The benefits of the nail really are the value. For a very small incremental cost of building your home, you can get a much more durable product, a much longer lasting home. In the event there's a natural disaster, you've got a better chance of your home structural system being able to resist that type of force.
So I say in closing, I'm up there getting the award and wondering what the Popular Science editor is going to say to Mr. Blatterboy so that he doesn't go home sick. And what he said, the reason they chose this was because it was a simple and elegant design of a very common product that has been around for thousands of years that potentially can save millions of lives, billions of dollars, everywhere around the world. And I was like, wow, that was pretty good. I want to use that. So I should say, just in closing, Bill yesterday said, I think he's over there, when you get the panel, which I thought was fantastic, about innovation really hitting home on three elements. which is simplicity, locality, and humanity. And my hope today is that you will leave here not looking at a nail as a nail anymore, but what a nail can represent. And if you can innovate a nail, you can innovate just about anything. So thank you very much.